I'm the bad boy flavor, light blue gators, not guilty.
A stunning end to the sex trafficking and racketeering trial of Sean Diddy Combs after the jury reached a split verdict.
Yeah, let's get into it, man. This verdict is in, and Sean P. Diddy Combs, out of 5 charges, he only got charged with 2.
The verdict is in. After 14 hours of deliberation, a jury of 8 men and 4 women who spent nearly 7 weeks listening to over 30 witnesses decided the fate of Sean Diddy Combs. Not guilty of racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking, but guilty of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution.
Sean P. Diddy Combs guilty of 2 charges, basically flying people out for prostitution. So beware. Everybody that's doing these flyouts of people and you basically giving them money or having sex with them, you are committing a federal crime.
I know you fucking lying, bitch.
And that's what Sean P. Diddy Combs is convicted of. And like I say on one of my previous videos, I thought that he would beat the RICO charge because I didn't see a continuous criminal enterprise or what Sean P. Diddy Combs was charged for. I didn't see that part. Also, the sex trafficking part, I didn't see that as well. But I'm not the only one that thought that the prosecution overreached.
I submit that this verdict, that this case was more about the government and less a judgment about Sean Diddy Combs. 8 men and 4 women found that the government overreached.
Yes, the prosecution overreached because they were trying to teach Sean Combs a lesson. They were trying to say, hey, man, you got money, but there's people that you trying to incriminate. They got way more money than you have. When Sean P. Diddy Combs started that issue with the liquor company that he was the face of, they was like, oh, no, we got to put you back in your place. And that's exactly what they did. And I know some of y'all like, man, what are you talking about? Well, I'm looking at the conspiracy angle of this situation. Because like I say, if they had to charge Sean Combs for domestic violence, yes, put him under the goddamn jail because that's exactly what he did. I'm not saying that he didn't abuse Cassie. No, we saw the video.
Diddy is guilty of abusing Cassie physically, probably emotionally, and psychologically. And we all saw it. And clearly that was the root of this case for the feds. But it wasn't even a charge. They obviously had nothing else.
But what I'm saying is, when the government brought the RICO charge and the sex trafficking charge, that's where I drew the line. And that's why I say that they're overreaching for something that's not there.
They made a federal crime out of Diddy's immoral lifestyle. He was convicted on 2 charges of paying for sex workers to cross state lines, which by all lights, he did. He's guilty. But all this for that? A law originally from 1910 that was called the White Slave Act, that was really just about, the government kind of censoring relationships they didn't like.
The jury saw that, hey, prosecution, whatever y'all are saying, we don't see it. Your number 1 witness that they had on the stand, Cassie Ventura, basically said that she set up some of the freak-offs. In the text message that she was sending to Puffy, I feel like a freak off today. So you're telling me that a woman that is telling this to a man that she wants to engage in some type of entertainment with somebody else while this man watches is not a co-conspirator? Cassie should have been sitting right next to Sean P. Diddy Combs and charged with the same charges. That's just my belief. I believe Cassie is not a victim. You're not a victim if you continue to do the same old thing over and over and over again. Well, man, she was young. She didn't know no better. That's no excuse. She was a consenting adult doing consenting adult things.
Not that human trafficking isn't real, but human trafficking implies what? that you're taking people who don't want to be taken and doing things to them that they don't want done. Okay? No one here said that they didn't want to go. They were adults as far as we know. So was it illegal? Federally, yes. Is it worth all this? The jury said, basically, no. This case proves that people don't buy what the government says anymore, and they're not wrong to feel that way.
But these people were used to living that type of lifestyle, and they liked it. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. A lot of people look at Cassie as a victim. I look at Cassie as a co-conspirator. You have your opinion, I have mine. My opinion about the prosecution is that they overreached. And now they have egg on their face. And now, what are they trying to do? They're trying to stop Puffy from getting bail.
The jury finding Combs not guilty on 3 of 5 counts, acquitting him of the most serious charges of racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking. Combs guilty on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. Each count carries a maximum of up to 10 years behind bars. The verdict considered a huge win for Combs, who is facing the possibility of life in prison. He's been behind bars since his arrest in September. Let's get right to ABC's chief investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky. And Aaron, we know that the defense was hoping that Combs would be able to leave the courtroom and go back to his family today. And earlier, he even said to his family there that I'm coming home. But it turns out that that is not the case. What are you learning from what happened in this hearing late today?
Sean Combs entered court just a moment ago, looking upbeat. He greeted his family, who crammed into the gallery, all in one bench, his mother, sons, twin daughters. And I think he was anticipating that he would be released following the mixed verdict, especially the acquittal on all of the violent crimes. But the judge immediately sat down at the bench, started reading his decision, saying bail is denied. He would not be released prior to sentencing because the judge said his incarceration is required based on what he was convicted of, transportation for the purposes of prostitution. The judge said the defense did not make any successful arguments to say that that expectation should be overridden.
Now, let's think about this, ladies and gentlemen. A man just beat a charge that would have sent him to prison for the rest of his life. So you telling me that if he was granted bail, he will go after the people that testified against him? If that was the case, Sean Combs would be the dumbest criminal ever. Because think about it. If something was to happen to the people that testified against him, he would be the first person the police would go to. So the criminal system is wrong in that aspect. This man is deserving of bail. Shit, even murderers get bail. It's crazy. Child molesters get bail. But yet, Sean Combs is not getting bail, and he will be in jail up until October. But now, this is where the conspiracy part comes into in my mind. I think that Sean P. Diddy Combs is going to get on probation and time served. Because I think they say the minimum time he could get is a year to 3 years. So I'm thinking, hey, Sean, we need to keep you in jail until October. Follow me now. And during that time period, if you think about it, when he got arrested and went to jail, I believe that would be a year and some change. So the judge could come back and say, hey, we giving you probation, and also, Mr. Combs, you have time served. Slam the gavel, Sean P. Diddy Combs walks out of court a free man. But the prosecution has another plan. The prosecution is basically saying that, hey, we want Sean P. Diddy Combs to go to jail for 20 goddamn years. 10 years for each charge that he's convicted of. No, they don't want it to run concurrently. They want him to serve 20 years in prison because of a case that they knew they couldn't win from the jump. They knew the case that they had was weak, but they wanted to go after this man to embarrass him in front of the whole world, which they achieved. And don't look at me and saying that, man, you sound like you are a Sean P. Diddy Combs fan. No, I'm looking at the goddamn evidence. And the evidence wasn't there for the prosecution to bring this case to the people, wasting goddamn taxpayer money over this case that could have been settled out of court. This is a domestic violence case. If Sean P. Diddy Combs was taken to court and they say this is a domestic violence case, you got him dead to right and he should be put under the jail. But you went out there and you took this case to court saying that it was a RICO case. Now you're trying to save face, basically saying that he deserved to be in jail for the next 20 years. As a first-time offender, you're trying to give this man 20 years. And if Puffy gets 20 years, that just shows how the criminal system looks at black men that have a first-time offender felony. That's just my opinion. This case would have set a precedent if Puffy had got convicted of a RICO charge. Yeah, because that means that the government could come inside your bedroom, see what you're doing, and lock you up. They try to put Puffy in jail for being a freak. That's what it is, ladies and gentlemen. They try to lock him up for being a freak, a nasty freak. But the man is not guilty of running a organized criminal enterprise.
They painted Diddy like Gotti and got. Sure, New York City speak maybe, but it's a pretty accurate portrayal. The government wanted you to believe that Diddy was like John Gotti, that he was a one-man criminal organization. So they used a law for criminal organizations, RICO, to trump up the charges, okay? And the jury rejected it, as well as rejecting the idea that Diddy was guilty of sex trafficking Cassie Ventura and another woman, the unnamed girlfriend, Jane. Now, I had a suspicion this was going to go this way, and not because I don't think that what Diddy was up to or about is wrong, is objectionable, is something I'd want to beat him up for. But it's because it clearly didn't meet the standards of the charges that the prosecutors were going for.
So let me know what you think about the Sean P. Diddy Combs trial and also the verdict in the comments below. The man on the street wants to know.